If you want to give a highly retentive and a beautiful complete denture to your patient, then you should definitely not skip this video. Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Riddi, author of Prosthodontic Mind Map book, and I'm going to teach you about posterior palatal seal today. Let's just quickly look into the definition again. Definition by GPT-9. So it is the soft tissue area limited posteriorly by the distal demarcation of movable and non-movable tissues of soft palate, and anteriorly by the junction of hard and soft palate, onto which pressure within the physiological limit can be placed. This seal can be applied by a removable complete denture to aid in its retention. So now if you have to learn this definition, there are so many points that you would have to consider. First being the posterior border, then the anterior border, the pressure that is applied within the physiological limit. This can be attained by a complete denture to aid in retention. So these 5 components together are going to define your posterior palatal seal area. So now once you have defined your posterior palatal seal area, the next thing that you need to do is enumerate its function. So very first would be that it maintains contact of denture with soft tissue. There is going to be a positive contact. Now what is this going to do? This will prevent your air, your liquid and the food from getting beyond your dentures. So it is going to provide a partial vacuum that's going to provide the seal. I told you, right? You want your retention to be good, you have to record your posterior palatal seal at the best form. It is also accounted to decrease the gag reflex. Now it's very important that you record your posterior palatal seal perfectly. No underdamming, no overdamming, no postdamming, nothing. It has to record the cupid bow appropriately, and hence that will help you to reduce the gag reflex. Now, you know that PMMA material has a property of shrinkage. Now this will be compensated by posterior palatal seal. The volumetric shrinkage can easily be compensated by recording a proper PPS. Hence, it will enhance retention and stability and increases the overall strength of your maxillary denture base. So it is one of the most important structure, and if you record your posterior palatal seal well, if you know the anatomy well, I guarantee that retention is one quality that you will perfectly attain. So now, when we talk about posterior palatal seal area, there are 2 things that come into picture, okay? One is the pterygomaxillary seal. So pterygomaxillary seal extends through the pterygomaxillary notch. So these is the seal, and you have a post-palatal seal that extends from one hamular notch to another. So now you would either need a mouth mirror or a T-shaped burnisher to record the area. So what do you do? Now the T-shape has something like this. So can you see the notch that is present here? Now that will be seated onto your ridge, and you just move it posteriorly. Now as you are moving it posteriorly, you are going to get a dip. That dip will demarcate the hamular notch. Okay, but before that, let's talk about the vibrating lines. So when I say that in order to have a cupid bow, there has to be something like an anterior line and there has to be something like a posterior line. So anterior vibrating line, as we discussed in the definition as well, is at the junction of hard and soft palate. So what is going to happen? You would have to ask the patient to say short bursts of ah. Okay, it's ah. So this will lead to difference in movement, and you can clearly visualize the anterior vibrating line by short bursts of ah. Now you got your anterior line. What about the posterior? It is completely into soft palate, but it is at a junction of movable and non-movable. So what you need to do here is that you ask them in a long shallow ah, and by this there will be difference, so you can clearly demarcate the movability of the tissue and you would be able to record your posterior vibrating line. Once this is done, we will talk about the hamular notch. So hamular notch is going to be present here posteriorly. Okay. Now this will affect the length and direction of pterygomaxillary seal, because we know that the pterygomaxillary seal is located at the similar position. It should not be covered by the denture. Your hamular notch need not be included in your denture base, but it will help you to demarcate the pterygomaxillary seal. It will help you to demarcate the posterior extension of your denture. Now, talking about fovea palatinae, can you see two dots here? Also, we did discuss about this in the anatomical landmarks. Now, these are basically the glandular openings and it is present in the hard palate. So, if you visualize your palatal shelves like this, it is the opening in the hard palate here. Now, this actually helps us to locate the anterior vibrating line. There have been n number of research that have been conducted and they have told that it is around 1 to 2 mm beyond fovea palatinae that you are expected to find your anterior vibrating line. So this becomes a very important structure. Now, mid-palatine raphe. This is nowhere related to your posterior palatal seal. It is located here in the center, but it is important for you to understand that if you know this mid-palatine raphe, you can easily find both your fovea palatines at each of its side, and thus it can be utilized to actually further secondarily locate your anterior vibrating line. So this was about the anatomical structure. Now we move on to the houses classification. This will be very important when you are actually giving your prostho practicals. The examiner might expect you to actually tell what type of posterior palatal seal does your patient have. So in class 1, there is this shape, but this is 5 to 6 mm wide, which becomes narrower to 2 to 3 mm of width in class 2, and it becomes like a single bead. Okay, so when I say single bead, it is somewhat like this in class 3, and this can be demarcated by actually tracing the line, anterior vibrating line and the posterior. Posterior will always be straight. Anterior will actually have the variability. There is also one classification of soft palate depending on the angle, 75, 40 and 10. That also helps you to know your palatal throat form. So read about it, and that will also help you to understand about your posterior palatal seal area. So now let's talk about what are the problems that you can face while recording your posterior palatal seal area. It can be underextended. Now what will happen when it is underextended? The tissue coverage will be lesser. It's going to be midway. Let's assume it was something like this, but what you recorded was this. So it's underextension, right? So what you need to do is you actually need to extend the tissue coverage. Use your border molding material, extend the tray, appropriately mark your posterior palatal seal area, transfer it onto your impression and locate it properly. Now, what will happen if there is an overextension? So, if at all it's going to go beyond, there will be problem when the patient swallows. There can be ulcerations that can come. This is more noticed by the patient, because what is going to happen, the patient will have trouble swallowing. They'll say, I'm not able to eat properly, I'm not able to water properly. What can you do? You can just, so again, let's take this for an example. It was overextended. You can simply trim this area off, polish it well, and give it. So it's more easy to repair, because what you need to do is you just need to remove. But the consequences are borne by the patient, and that's not what you want to do. Then underdamming. So when we talk about post-damming, that is done insufficiently, what is going to happen? This will lead to incorporation of air bubbles, so that you can actually correct by adjusting the wax in that area, because you don't want to. Post damming means recording it appropriately. Now if there is an underextension, there will be space, but if there is an overextension or over post damming, that is more amount of border that you would have recorded, that can lead to over post damming. So in order to avoid this, what you're going to do, you maintain convexity. Correct? You maintain convexity of your denture. At the same time, the border needs to be reduced according to the requirement. And that was all about underdamming, over post damming. And let's look into so we just discussed, right? Effect of over post damming and under post damming. So as we know, under post damming leads to air leakage or air bubbles that will be, and over post damming will lead to problems in swallowing and ulceration. These are similar to the symptoms that we'll observe if it is overextended. Overextended means the height being increased. Post damming means the width, the compression that is being taken into picture. So let's look into the MCQ now. The role of posterior palatal seal in improving the longevity of a maxillary complete denture base is primarily related to which of the following? So let's see the options now. Reduction in palatal mucosal displacement during mastication? No, it actually does not reduce anything, okay? It's going to cover the posterior area. Redistribution of occlusal forces towards residual ridge? No, it does not govern the distribution of force. Elimination of gag reflex? Yes, by reducing posterior palatal coverage. Now the term reducing is not correct, so that is also out of option. Compensation for polymerization, shrinkage, and enhancement of denture base strength. This is the correct answer. So if you enjoyed solving this, go refer to the mind map onto the app, look at the notes along with it, solve other MCQs and flashcards, and at the same time, we will continue how to record posterior palatal seal in the next video. Do like, share, and subscribe, and download the app today.